What's going on, my super fam, and welcome to what I would call the ultimate Genshin Impact tier list before we move on to Fontaine. Now, I've put a lot of work for this tier list, and I can guarantee you that it's an unfiltered and unbiased tier list of the current character roster in the current 3.8 meta. Now, this has been discussed alongside with a friend of mine who is a massive Genshin Impact world and someone who have quite literally played every single character in the game at C6. So all in all, you can be sure that this is a quality tier list. But either way, still a disclaimer guys, is that at the end of the day, it is still a tier list made from me. Therefore, it is only an opinion of mine. So if there are something that differs from what you think, just feel free to leave it down in the comment section and I would love to further my understanding of what I have missed. So how the tier list will go is that, as you can see, there are quite a lot of rankings since I kind of want to be as detailed as possible. And guys, the character are currently going to be, all the 4-star would be considered as C6 and 5-star would be considered as C0. And that should be basically it. Alright guys, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe as there are a lot of huge giveaway on the channel for you to save for future Genshin characters. And with that, it is going to be quite a decently long video, so sit back, ready your popcorn, relax, and let us dive in. So for the very start, our Dendro MC, I would put him on good enough tier. A pretty good character that is free, which is surprising to see that Hoyoverse actually give us a free MC character which is this good. He's still a very good character in terms of AoE Dendro application. We already have many Dendro character in the game right now, yet when it comes to off-field Dendro application, Dendro Traveler is still all the way up there. Very good supporter for your team, not to mention all the way to C6, he's going to be providing your team a really decent buff as well, so he deserves a spot on that list. Albedo, not bad. The best thing about him is, of course, he's able to give your team quite a decent number of EM of 125, which is decently good when it comes to different elemental reaction team. However, when you're using in teams of mono comps like the mono Geo, it is completely useless. Also, he's still able to do decent number when it comes to off-field damage. It can go up all the way to 25k per tick. However guys, you do need to have his BIS weapon, which is actually the event weapon. So if you did miss on it, it's almost not possible to get it right now. And then what's left of him is the next second best is going to be the 3-star option Harbinger of Dawn. And it's not really that good of a weapon, so we'll just occasionally use him if you have him on your account. But other than that, I'm sure that most of us won't be pulling for him unless you really want Albedo. Next is Amber. She is gonna be on not bad because since we're considering C6 character, C6 Amber will be able to support you quite a bit. Not to mention guys, she is a bow character, so if you do have the elegy, she will be able to make use of that really well, further supporting your team, which can be quite nice. Obviously again, it's really preference when it comes to using Amber. It's not always that we have a C6 Amber, so many of the times she just used to be there for fun. Ayaka, right, where she's gonna be? She's gonna be on super strong. Now I think Ayaka can actually be in the middle of, you know, can save the account and super strong, but I'll just leave her here for now. I'm pretty sure how powerful, you know, Ayaka already is. Very good in terms of charge attack spamming on field and also burst damage output. The only argument we had a lot with Ayaka is that without her BIS option, which is kind of like the 5-star mid-splitter, she actually has a tough option when it comes to free to play because, you know, the Amenoma Kaguchi is just an okay sword. It's not that good of a sword for Ayaka. The passive isn't entirely good, and many of the other 4-star sword option Ayaka can't really make use of. So she's kind of like a character that tend to rely on 5-star option like the Mist-Splitter and Jade Cutter. And also when it comes to playstyle, she's actually more geared toward burst type of gameplay, because whether or not you're charge attack spamming Ayaka on the field, she still rely on her burst because her burst is just that good. A 20 tick that does an insanely high numbers of damage, so generally she can be more geared toward a burst kind of playstyle. Next is Barbara. She's gonna be on really bad. Her application is terrible, guys, very tiny bit. There's just a ring of hydro circulating you that has very small AoE, so you tend to have to be very close in order for it to apply kind of like a little bit of hydro. Now, apart from her healing capability and her driver ability, if you kind of have Barbara on your team, you may want to have her to be on field being the driver for your sub DPS. Now, some of you may say that they have been built with Barbara doing, you know, charge attack damage, and yes, you can technically play her like that, but guys, how many of you will actually build Barbara and put all the resource in so that you can have high damage number? So all the way, the only reason that you're mostly going to be using her is that because she's cute, or you're just starting out on your account and you don't really have any other characters and healer to be using. Beidou, she's going to be on good enough. Now, she used to be very good character on Taser Child team, but when Dendro came, even though Electro character got buffed, she didn't really have any new additional teams. Since we already been using Fischl and Kuki Shinobu a lot more than her. If you still want to use Beidou, you can still use her, but there are so many other Electro characters that is doing a lot of good supporting for the team now. And also a downside of Beidou is that she has really bad energy regeneration. 80 is really high, and she doesn't really generate that much of an energy for herself, which relies her on the Emblem Fate set and your party members a lot. Bennett, oh my god, you know, save the account, no question asked, not much to discuss because we all know how good Bennett already is. Now, just so you know, technically he didn't have a buff when Dendro arrived, as most of the Dendro reaction team doesn't really use him. But since he's just so good, he is still able to technically be on any team he likes, and he will still do the work for you. So yeah, that's Bennett for you. Chonguyn, never play, pretty bad now. Before we used to have him on national team when Genshin Impact first came out, but he got kind of power creep from so many good cryo character now. He can technically deal decent numbers of damage from his low burst cost, and also have unique cryo infusion as well as skill cooldown, so he still might kind of find some unique use down the road, but overall you're most likely not going to be using Chonguyn nowadays. Diluc, not bad. His damage has been basically power creep ever since Hu Tao came out. Now, from my friend experience who has a C6R5 Diluc, guys, he's basically the same level as Hu Tao C0. So pretty much a preference character at this point, and sometimes can be hard to play too because his burst can actually miss, plus pushes enemy far away from you. So you kind of have some timing whenever you play Diluc like that. Diona, good enough. Her shield is a bit squishy now because, you know, Layla actually got released, who kind of like a second best shielder in the game, but overall she's still very decent, guys. I really love using Diona, especially at C6 where you can get support from her with a lot of EM. She heals very well and also a constant shield for damage reduction and knockback, and good energy regeneration if you're using her on a Favonius or Sack bow. She can still use Elegy really well, so to buff your team. Very comfortable character, especially when you're running in a cryo team. She will be helping your team a lot still. Diona is a character that I still use when I use my cryo team, guys. Fischl, oh my god, super strong. Amazing buff after Dendro reactions. Her Ascension 4 passive is quite literally the best in the whole game because every time you trigger electro related reaction, Oz deals further damage. That is just really good. Can be considered as top tier electro character now, a lot better than Yae Miko, who's kind of like a counterpart to her, but a 5-star version, because Fischl just generates you so much energy, guys. Whenever you have Fischl on your team, you're basically not going to be needing any kind of energy regen support. As well as with the amount of electro applications that she's got, especially at C6, she's just going to be applying you a lot of electro, especially when it comes to Dendro reaction teams. You don't really need to build her too much, just basically slot her in the team and she'll do well. Dendro buff just did a lot to Fischl. Now, like before Dendro buff, she was like around, you know, here, not bad, above good enough a bit, but now Dendro buff, she's all the way up here. Really nice. Ganyu, super strong. So many have been comparing her with Ayaka, however that is not the case. For Ganyu, it is such a versatile character. If you're thinking the only thing that she does is charge attack, then you're only getting half of the picture, guys. Ganyu is the only few character in the game who's a top tier DPS while also being able to have amazing support for the team. A sub burst is just really good for that. For Ayaka, she basically needs her own specific team to shine. However, Ganyu is just so versatile that slot her into any team and she'll be able to do some work for you. Ganyu has so many amazing teams, but one of the teams that stood out the most has always been Morgana. If you do remember, still actually some of the best freeze team in the game right now. Though it did fall off a bit compared to reaction teams, but this Morgana team still work if you want to play freeze team, guys. Hu Tao, super strong, not too much to discuss here. Still top tier pyro character and waifu with amazing damage, unique gameplays of charge attack spam, though it does take a bit of skill if you have her at C0 in terms of stamina management. But free to play Hu Tao, guys, is very good due to many free to play poem options, unlike Ayaka, who we discussed earlier. Hu Tao can be using, you know, Dragon's Bane, the White Tassel, which is a 3-star options, and she still do well. Still an absolute solid character of League Way all the way till this point. Jean, she's gonna be on good enough because, as you've known, Sunfire Jean is still pretty viable. You use her alongside with Benny's Burst. She has strong healing, and not to mention, if you're going to be playing Genshin Impact for quite some time, you're going to be potentially getting a C2 Jean, which is really unique and can be very handy for your team, especially when you're using normal attack gameplay at times. Kaeya is going to be on not bad. C6 Kaeya will be able to pull you some value, but again, Cryo is just so competitive of an element that even if you have a C6 Kaeya, he'll just basically be preference character that you're using most of the time. So there's that. Now my queen Keqing. She's gonna be on very good. After Dendro, it buffed her so much. Now before Keqing at C0, she was on like, on in the middle of really bad and not bad. I would just have to be honest, but after Dendro, she's all the way on very good. So thank God Hoyoverse actually buff her a lot. Now you can kind of understand her as comfortable Sino. She has really low burst cost, very easy to play, can be played as burst quick swap, guys, which is something that I usually play my Keqing along. I just be on field, press her burst, do 2 charge attack and switch her back in. Now as long as you play the game, you're bound to get a couple Keqing constellation. For C0 Keqing, she's okay, but her constellation just buff her a lot. And once you get her to C6, she can even be up a tier, like be on super strong tier or something, which is really nice. She has a lot of free to play weapon option, guys, and so many of the team comp option to play her in. Very versatile and fun character to play, guys. Trust me, I'm a Keqing main, I know her really well. Klee, my god, she's on never played. Now the only reason to justify playing Klee is because she's cute. Other than that, there's just so many pyro characters at this point. On meta wise, she can't even compete since her damage level just fall off. Plus very hard gameplay, guys. You need to kind of practice Klee in order to get her mechanic right. Otherwise, you're missing out on a lot of DPS on her. So if you have Klee, it's just basically for fun using her, running around, exploration, doing stuff. But most of us are not going to be using Klee most of the time. Now, Lisa, this is something that going to be surprising many of you. Lisa is going to be on very good tier, especially at C6. She'll be able to do a lot for your team at C6. I think I'll make a separate in-depth video on Lisa, otherwise this video is gonna be too long. But my friend who has a C6 Lisa using a free-to-play weapon, guys, has been doing a lot better than, Yae Miko. I'm sorry, Yae just keep on getting compared. But Lisa, a 4-star free character from the very start of the game that many consider to be bad, is actually got a huge buff from Dendro. Really nice character to be using. Her passive give her defense shred, which is something that's still the rarest thing in the game. When you have her at C4, her ult is going to be hitting up to 3 enemies, which is a lot of electro applications. And C6 just allowed you to get her E charge up a 3 conducive stack a lot easier and doing the highest E skill damage in the game, which is insane. The only thing with Lisa is just that you need to get comfortable using her, but once you do, you will be seeing she gives a lot of value when you have her on the team. Mona, good enough. If you want to play Freeze Ayaka, for example, and you don't have Kokomi, Mona is still going to be there, plus a lot of attack buff. She's still being used in, you know, showcases like high damage showcase, one-shot showcase, since her buff is really high. Bloom and Hyper Bloom teams want Hydro, so Mona can definitely function in those teams. The only reason many teams don't use her is either you got a Kokomi or many of the time you use Xingqiu or Yae for Hydro application, so Mona usage is quite situational at times. Ningguang, really bad. She can do a bit of damage when you invest into her. However, there's, you know, Noelle, who actually out-damaged Ningguang by a lot, plus her healing capability. Gameplay mechanic wise is a bit hard, you need to know how to cancel her normal attack, plus her burst is also the majority of her DPS, yet it has weird AI targeting mechanic and sometimes can even miss a few hits, causing you to lose a lot of damage. So Ningguang's just pretty much a preference character at this point. And speaking of that, we have Noelle, who's on not bad tier. Free to play Noelle can help you decently with damage. She has healing and shielding capability that makes things a lot easier for you, especially when you're just starting out. From C6 highly invested Noelle experience guys, sometimes she can even do more damage than Diluc. The bad thing about Noelle only at this point is kind of like she is Geo, which holds her back a lot since she can't really make use of elemental reactions. Qiqi, really bad, don't really have to discuss too much. Hard to play in her role, which is the healer role. She really needs her burst to heal your team well, yet that costs a ton of energy. She herself doesn't regen that much, so you actually need another kind of like cryo character or your teammate to help her with ER, and she sometimes wants to be on field for that healing for the team. The only good thing about Qiqi is when you play in co-op, she does that pretty well, but since Genshin has basically no co-op experience, her value just isn't there. Razor, never play. In this patch, I don't think anyone plays him anymore. Apart from you loving him, I don't think there's any reason to play Razor since he's physical and you already know how bad physical can be. If you're starting out in the game and you get Razor, he may be able to carry you through a bit of content, but later on, especially in the end game, you just won't be using Razor. Sucrose still on very good tier guys. Sometimes she gets compared towards Kazuha, but that's not actually the whole picture. For her main role is to give your team EM, while Kazuha is buffing elemental damage. Giving EM has its own different value and many teams can still make use of it. Very good energy funneling source too, but you can have her on Sack Fragment, so at C6 she basically has like 3 E skill to do. The only thing about Sucrose is that she's hard to use her crowd control capability at times, and her burst only lasts for like 5 to 6 seconds, which is really short. But overall, still some of the best anime character in the game right now. Childe, he is gonna be on good enough. The only thing that Childe's currently shining in is, you know, Childe International Team, but that's not even his team. He's just there to basically apply Hydro so that Xiangling can vaporize, and that place can be replaced by like Yae and Xingqiu. They still works fine. Due to the fact that Hydro is so competitive, we've talked to a very dedicated Childe main about this, and even he has to admit that Xiao is currently some of the worst 5-star Hydro right now, since what he can do, the other can also do, while at C0 you have to practice playing him with his skill cooldown, so there's currently a lot of things that's holding Childe back. Venti, he is gonna be the very first unique character. Now I believe I haven't really explained what unique here actually mean. Unique here is kind of like a character that shines in a specific role and you basically only use that character when there's situational content. And so for Venti, some people say that he's bad, but that is not the case guys. Venti is a very situational character. If there's content of crowd control, you will see him shines amazingly well. If there's not any, then you won't be playing him. That's just the case with Venti. Come and go like the wind as they say it, right? In some abyss, currently there are only large boss enemy where you obviously won't be using him, but some of the newest abyss, there has been floors that have a lot of smaller mobs where Venti is always going to make your life a lot easier. He's not really a must pull, but he's insanely good in the right situation. Xiangling can save the account. God tier pyro character, the true pyro queen, the character who can literally use any poem in the game and will still get some use of it guys. She can be even better than Hu Tao due to the ease of gameplay. You just cast her burst, not to mention it also snapshot, shots. The Xiangling at C6 is a monster, guys. A 14-second burst uptime is so much, and damage wise we don't even have to talk too much. Its AoE and very high damage output is insanely valuable. You just build her, put her on any of your team, and she'll clear content for you. Simple stat. Xiao is gonna be a not bad. Xiao is basically still Xiao, guys. Everything he has been good at, he's still the same now. Since there was technically no buff or nothing toward him, he still do quite a lot of damage, and his team build is still kind of like the same. You do have Farzan to help him out a bit, though you kind of need to invest into Farzan at C6. And since there's so many characters now, he's just pretty much a preference character. But when in the Abyss, especially at C0, it will be very tough for him to clear it. Xingqiu, super strong. He usually gets compared a lot to what Yae, but generally the two characters just actually cover what the others don't have. For Xingqiu, it's more about utility, where overall at C6 he will be able to apply more hydro than Yae. He has resistance to interruption and quite a bit of healing for your team, which is still so nice. So due to his high overall hydro application, he'll work better, for example, on team with Hu Tao, since he will help Hu Tao to vaporize most of the time, and overall still an absolutely strong character, especially in Dendro meta. Xinyan, never played. Again, the only reason you want to use her is that if you like using Xinyan, and that's pretty much it. Zhongli, super strong character. I may sometime put him on can save the account, but I'll leave him here because it depends on how much your account needs shielder character. His shield is still amazingly the best in the game as always. He helps your team with defense shred, which is some of the rarest ability, and with tenacity set, he is also able to buff the attack of your team. Now if you invest into his burst, guys, he does do quite decently high damage, around 80k damage per burst at the very least, so amazing support for your team. The only thing right now is that Dendro doesn't really react with Geo, so Zhongli isn't really be used on many of the Dendro teams. Rosaria is gonna be on good enough. C6 is really good, especially in physical team, guys. Overall, a very good cryo support with a lot of cryo application from her burst, and for her constellation, it does help her to deal a bit more damage too. So she's still very viable, especially in melt team, cryo team, and sometimes physical team if you are using her. Eula is gonna be on never play. I love Eula. She's so pretty. Her animation is so unique, though I don't really want to be too harsh on her, but she's just definitely a preference character at this point. Most of us are not going to be pulling for her unless you love Eula, but in terms of meta wise, she will never be used for as long as physical not getting any kind of buff and her current level just stays the same. Yanfei is going to be a not bad, pretty comfy pyro DPS if you want to invest into her, especially at C6. She's a lot easier to manage. I've actually cleared the Abyss with C6 Yanfei before, so she can definitely do the work if you invest into her. Kazuha can definitely save the account. I don't think we actually have to discuss too much about his power. Just get him, he'll just carry you through so many content, especially when he can slot it into basically any team, even on Dendro reaction team, guys. So yeah, just pull for him, guys. It's Kazuha. Yae Miko is gonna be on super strong, best single targeted damaged character in the game, and also the easiest character to play, while also being very strong and cute. Just sets her E, no more attack spam, and also she's a bow user, so she just hits anywhere she wants, while Hu Tao can't really do that, especially on flying enemies. Only Yae Miko can deal with it. Sayu, she's on really bad. After discussion with so many, most say that Sayu is currently the worst Anemo character. Very weird gameplay, can't really compete with other healer. You want her to be on field doing her E to swirl, and that's basically it. You almost never use her unless you're a new player and lacking in healing, as well as Anemo character for 4-piece VV shred, and that is pretty much it. Raiden can definitely save your account, absolutely free to play friendly, have everything you need as a damaging character, while also support your team with energy regen, burst damage increase, and electro application. Works so well on so many different teams, especially in national, guys. Very comfortable to use and very easy to play in many teams. Just slot her in your team and she'll help you clear content. Sarah, guys, is gonna be on unique, basically our Raiden Shogun Shrimp. she'll mostly be there on Electro team, especially at C6. Huge buff for Electro character, a lot of damage buff for you, but really little buffing time, only like 6 seconds if I remember correctly, so you do have to be mindful about the rotation when using her, and you do want to kind of support her on energy recharge wise because her burst is so important, yet it does cost a lot too. Kokomi, she's all the way on Can Save Your Account. Don't have to discuss much as her support capability is off the chart, guys. Have her and your life is a lot easier, cause you know what, whenever you build a team, Kokomi will most likely come up as a recommendation for a slot. So comfortable to use, especially when Dendro reaction needs a lot of hydro, and also she's cute at the same time, guys, so there you go, that's the divine priestess for you. Aloy, never played, doesn't really have to discuss much. Toma is gonna be on very good, guys. Now before Dendro, he was on like, you know, not bad, sometimes really bad. But after Dendro, he became some of the best pyro character for Burjan team. Huge buff just like Kuki Shinobu, has a pretty decent shield, and C6 gives you nice attack boost and constant pyro application for the team. Quite comfy to use, he just lacked a bit of damage. If you don't invest into him, that's the only thing right now. Ito is gonna be on good enough. Ito can still do his work, but of course you're required to run a very specific Geo team with Goro for him, and as we've known, Geo doesn't really have elemental reactions, so you have to rely on damaging on itself. Goro is gonna be on unique only for Geo team. He does require like a C4 to perform really well with a healing cap. Otherwise you still need like Bennett on your mono Geo team in order for you to heal and help attack buff. Shanna is also on unique, quite literally the best unique character right now. Oh my god, guys, Shanna is just so good at what she does. Basically the two only character I pull for my constellation on my account. Amazing support for cryo teams, deliver all kind of buff. If you main cryo, Shanna is kind of like a must-have. Now here's a bit of a further discussion though, is that Shanna constellation actually massively affects her performance. If you have her as C0, she's actually on kind of like in the middle of not bad and really bad tier. However, if you get her C1, she actually jumps all the way to up here on very good tier, because her C1 just massively affects her performance, and if you get her C2 or C3, she's on super strong, hands down. So Shanna constellation just massively affects her performance, and C1 just changes a lot of her gameplay, just makes her a lot more comfortable to use, more time for your buff, which is really nice. Now I'm not really indicating that you have to invest into Shanna, because C0 is a very complete character already. You just need to work on her rotation a bit more, and also her energy regen, because her burst is so important. But C1 just changes a lot for Shanna. Yunjin is also going to be on unique. She's there to buff your normal attack. Now C6 Yunjin is really good, can be better than Bennett at buffing normal attack, but of course she's only really good at what she does, hence she's why on unique tier. Yae Miko is gonna be on very good, basically a lower tier than Fischl at C0. If you invest into a constellation though, she'll jump all the way up to super strong, and sometimes can kind of save your account, because trust me, I have constellation on Yae Miko and she's just so good. Since she's basically damage focused, guys, she's not the character to help you out much with electro application. Way worse than Fischl, bad energy regeneration for the team as well, and also high burst energy cost, and not to mention it takes a lot of time to set up her E skill, guys, which is a complaint that many of the players have. If you have a Fischl at C6, you're most likely not going to be pulling for Yae Miko unless you love what she does, and also she's mainly on AFK team, which is really nice. Ayato gonna be on super strong, way better than Xiao, so much easier to play, long burst field uptime, and a lot of hydro application, not to mention really good damage number as well. A decent buff after Dendro too, because he now performs really well in Hyper Bloom and Burjan team, so additional team for Ayato. Yelan, she is kind of like on super strong and can save your account. I actually gonna put her up here. She's just so good. If you have the elegy on Yelan, every Pareto character becomes literally a beast. She basically buff damage so insanely high for the team, while a lot of hydro application. Plus guys, her personal damage is very good. good. She basically do everything off field for you as a support sub DPS character. The only thing that she doesn't have is the healing capability, but on the offensive side, she is absolutely fantastic. By the way, a cherry on top guys is that C6 Yae is currently considered as the best C6 character in the game from testing. I might do a C6 5-star tier list later on to discuss more about this, but in terms of free to play, she has a lot of 3 and 4-star tier weapon that you can use her on. Very easy to build, yet a lot of high return on investment. Kuki Shinobu is gonna be on super strong. EM Kuki is currently the best character in Hyper Bloom team. No character is coming close to that. She just triggers cores so easily and also heal your team off field. A very powerful member on Hyper Bloom team. Other than that, she still works on most of the Dendro teams guys, so Dendro just gave her an amazing buff. Before the buff, she's just on like, you know, really and not bad tier, but after that she just jumps all the way up to super strong. Very good character. Amazing Electro on Hyper Bloom team. Absolutely fantastic. Nahida, can't save your account. Best Dendro character guys. A lot of EM giving high damage ceiling. Amazing sub DPS alongside with AoE damage too. Pick any kind of Dendro team and I'm sure you'll find Nahida holding a slot. The only thing with her is that she's bad in waves of enemy guys, since she has to be on field again to reapply her E, but that doesn't really stop her from being a top tier character because she just helps you so much. Hazel is gonna be on never play. You just use him for fun, or you're lacking character, then you can use him as a driver for your sub DPS character. Many will say that he's got one of the best one punch in the game, kind of like One Punch Man, but yeah, after that one punch he'll be in cooldown and basically do nothing for the most of the time. Tainari, very good, quite literally the best standard character in the game guys. Amazing at what he does. You can have him on field or play in the quick swap team. He'll be able to do really good damage. He's also easy to play and build and will get you through many of the content when you build him. Klee is gonna be on not bad tier. She still does her work well, especially at C6. She'll be able to help your team quite a bit with Dendro application. Of course, she's still gonna be a preference character, especially if you are lacking on, you know, Dendro character. So Klee is still gonna be there to do work for you. Dory, never played. She just have a really bad kit and weird gameplay alongside with it. You almost never use her unless you really like Dory and play around with her a bit, but in terms of meta wise, she just can't compare with other healer. It's kind of like a shame since she has really good design. I really like her design guys, but it's really hard to use Dory. Nilou, oh my god, definitely on a unique tier. Now if she's not on unique, she's gonna be on super strong guys, hands down, because her Bloom team does amazing damage. Almost no investment into her and she'll help your team do well. Also guys, you don't really need to use her in her specific Bloom team, and Nilou can be on a Vaporize team as well, and she actually is very doable. Really high damage number. I've seen Nilou Vaporize team build where she does 100 to 200k Vaporize damage, which is insane. So if you want to play around with her team, that is also possible. The only thing you want to invest in is that other member of Nilou on the team kind of want to be built, and that's pretty much it. Super cute and very strong character. Thank god Hoyoverse didn't really mess her up. Sino is basically on very good damage output, cool gameplay, but it's very competitive in the elements of Electro. It demands a lot of on-field time, so you have to make sure that his rotation is accurate. So basically a preference character on many of us, but he's still able to output decently high numbers. Candice is gonna be good enough. At C6, Candice still helps your team with a lot of stuff. My friend who have invested a triple crown Candice with Constellation, and her E does like 200k damage, which is higher than Childe, and that is a 4-star character on a 4-star weapon guys. Quite comfy to use her E shield as well. It's really easy. She also have that unique hydro application, so you have a fun time using Candice on your team. Layla is also gonna be good enough. She had the second best shield in the game. Her C6 give her decently nice boost in utility and damage output guys, plus buffing your party member as well, which is quite nice. A decent cryo application for the team too. If you're lacking in a shielder and cryo character, Layla may be very nice for you. Wanderer again is gonna be good enough. Kind of like a better Xiao. He does really good damage, but a lot easier easier to play. However, he really needs C6 Farazan guys, which hinders him quite a bit without her. Otherwise, nice and cool animation, unique flying ability. Overall, a really nice character for you to have on the account. Farazan definitely on a unique tier. She kind of needs to be on C6 guys, so you kind of want to invest on her as much as you can when you're using Farazan. Yao Yao is actually on very good, a 4-star character that has access to an amazing kit, high Dendro application, very good healing for the team alongside with Favonius Lance for energy regeneration helping for you. She does just so many for a 4-star character, not to mention her constellation helps her a lot too. Nice and comfy Dendro healer to have, plus she was given free in the Lantern Rite event, so any of you who have been playing then should already have a copy of a Dendro healer for the account. Ayato, super strong, easily the best DPS character right now. High damage, quick pace gameplay, Dendro infusion. He can be on a quick swap burst playstyle if you want, and he also have access to basically the best team building in the game too, so that's just really nice. The only thing you just need is practicing him a bit at C0 because his gameplay mechanic wants you to have good rotation and timing focus. Dia, oh my god, we were discussing with my friend and we were joking how Dia needs kind of like a tier under never plays because everything about Dia, Hoyoverse just makes the worst of it. I don't know why. I remember they have been saying that Dia in the closed beta version was really good, one of the best standard character, but now after her official release, you're not going to be playing her guys. Even on C6 or 5, which many have tried and tested, the maximum she's doing is like 100k, way worse than other C6 5-star character guys. It is a huge disservice to Dia. Whatever she's gonna be doing, tanking your damage, helping out with pyro application if you want to, other character can already do it. So Dia, you're basically never going to be using her apart from the fact that you really like her and have her on the team. That's it. Mika is going to be on really bad. He can't even be on a unique situation because even though he focuses on physical, you're not ever going to be using him on the team because he's just downright bad. Really hard to use, almost no cryo application, lackluster in healing capability as well. He has almost no energy regen for the team, so it's a really hard support character even when you're using her on Eula. So overall, just hard when you want to use Mika. Kaveh is on very good. Quite an interesting character that acts a bit similar to Nilou, but he still does his job. He has damage potential, not to mention we're talking about C6 Kaveh, where it buffs his utility just so much. His constellation is really favoring him, helping him moving up the rank. But again, a pretty preference character whenever you're using him because he does demand quite a lot of on-field time. But overall, if you're lacking in, like Dendro character and you want to play in Bloom team that's similar to Nilou, C6 Kaveh is definitely gonna be there. Beidou is gonna be on not bad because guys, Yao Yao exists and she's a 4-star character, and also most of us have a copy of her on the team. So Beidou is pretty much gonna be a preference character. He does his job well, which is over healing you most of the time, and that's mostly it. He does have access to shield, but an insanely weak shield, so it's just basically there to stop you from getting interrupted. He's also one of the squishiest character in the game because he has the lowest defense in the game. So the only time when you're pulling for Beidou is that you actually prefer having him, and that is technically basically it. And then Kirara, our newest addition to Genshin Impact as a 4-star character. She's gonna be on not bad tier, not really viable in gameplay most of the time. She has weird mechanic, just running around on field, having fun playing around. If you're playing in co-op, she may be fun to have around, and in exploration as well, she can help you with climbing and stuff. But in the meta guys, you're basically not going to be using Kirara. Well, at the very least, she is cute. So guys, that is basically the tier list of patch 3.8 Genshin Impact before Fontaine. As we can see here, we've already got Linny, Lynette and Freminet, but we're not going to be putting them on the tier list for now. Hope that was a very informative video for you. If you do have any further discussion, just feel free to leave it down in the comment section, guys, and I will get to you there. I hope that you really have been enjoying the video. I put a lot of work into this. And so guys, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. It is a free way to support me. And as well, we have a lot of giveaway that goes on the channels as well. So that's a huge chance for you to grab a lot of Primo Gems. Also, again, we are in patch 3.8. If you are still considering which character to pull, then I have a very in-depth video that you can check out right now. Again, guys, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me till this part of the video. And with that, I wish you a super day, and I will catch you on my next video.